In today's video, I'm going to share 3 pieces of information that I learned from Dr. Doug Lisle that dramatically impacted not only my health and weight loss journey, but also my life. Dr. Lisle is an evolutionary psychologist who has a monthly interview on the Chef AJ YouTube show, and I've been watching his talks and listening to his podcast for years. I would say he is the biggest source of knowledge for me when it comes to this low-fat vegan diet and has been a huge positive influence for me. He is the co-author of a book called The Pleasure Trap, which I highly recommend, and I will link in the description of this video. Okay, the first thing that I learned from him was about wet starches. I grew up in the middle of the Atkins diet craze of the early 2000s when so many adults around me were eliminating carbs and saying how bad and how fattening carbs are. And I learned that when it comes to weight loss, there's a huge difference between crunchy carbs like crackers, chips, bread, cookies, and wet starches, which are full of water and fiber. Wet starches like baked potato or boiled potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice, quinoa, millet, barley, and oatmeal are low on the calorie density scale. Potatoes are about 350 calories per pound for reference. And they're very satisfying, so they help to keep you full and are generally high in volume, so they are larger foods. Think of how much space in your stomach 2 baked potatoes would take up versus that amount of potatoes if they were made into chips. The dried out, dehydrated, crunchy foods take up a lot less space, just like raisins take up less space than grapes. This is important because we have something called stretch receptors in our brains, which send a signal once our stomachs have been stretched out to a certain point and are full of food. This tells us that we've had enough to eat. So wet starches are such an integral part of this low-fat vegan diet, and I don't go a day without eating them. I recommend at least 2 of your daily meals contain wet starch. This is whether you're losing weight or maintaining it once you've reached your goal. The second thing I've learned from Dr. Doug Lisle is to work harder on your environment than you do on yourself. In his monthly videos on Chef AJ's channel, they both talk about how important the environment is. And they talk about it a lot, and I love it because it applies to so many areas of your life. It really is important. When it comes to weight loss, your environment is essentially your kitchen. So keeping junk food out of your fridge, freezer, and pantry will make your weight loss journey so much easier because you won't be fighting temptation every time you walk into your kitchen. You don't have to use willpower to stay away from ice cream that's not in your freezer in the first place. The third thing on this list is the importance of earning esteem from yourself. This comes from doing your best to be diligent and make healthy choices each day. When you feel proud of yourself, you'll find that it creates a self-esteem that's even better than the feeling of reaching the weight loss goal. And that may be hard to believe because we think that the best feeling will come from achieving your goal. But the quiet inner peace and self-esteem that comes from knowing you're doing your best and making wise, healthy choices is honestly amazing. And that's it for today's video. I could probably write a list of at least 10 things I've learned from Dr. Lisle, but I'll leave it there for now. Have a beautiful day, and if you haven't already joined the free 30-day weight loss challenge, you can start with day 1 anytime on your own. Click the link in the description box for the YouTube playlist with the daily videos.